Seniors with heart issues, for types of foods you should never eat. It may surprise you to learn that what you're eating could be secretly undermining your heart health, especially after age 65. What was once considered a heart-healthy diet might now be contributing to inflammation, arterial damage, and dangerous blood pressure fluctuations that put you at risk for serious cardiac events. In fact, recent research from the American Heart Association indicates that seniors who regularly consume certain common foods have a 27% higher risk of cardiovascular complications than those who avoid these items, even when taking prescribed heart medications. According to outdated nutritional advice, many foods that appear beneficial or even recommended for general health can actually create significant problems for seniors with heart concerns. The truth is that certain foods can lead to dangerous spikes in blood pressure, increased arterial inflammation, harmful cholesterol oxidation, and potentially life-threatening heart rhythm disturbances in older adults with cardiovascular issues. I'm about to reveal the 4 types of food seniors with heart conditions should absolutely avoid. Stay with me until the end because the worst food category for seniors with heart issues is one that's still regularly promoted as heart healthy in many mainstream publications, and it could be silently damaging your arterial health without your knowledge. Let's get started. I recommend you subscribe and ring the bell if you haven't already to ensure you never miss another personalized health tip for seniors. Type 1 in the comments if you find this video helpful. If not, input 0 to let me know how I can improve your content. 4 types of food seniors with heart issues should never eat. 1. Processed and packaged low-fat foods, hidden sodium, and sugar bombs. They seem like the perfect choice, conveniently packaged, prominently labeled heart-healthy or low-fat, and often recommended by outdated dietary guidelines. Low-fat yogurts, fat-free salad dressings, reduced-fat crackers, low-fat breakfast cereals, and heart-healthy frozen meals appear to be ideal options for seniors watching their cardiovascular health. But behind these health-conscious labels lies a troubling reality that's particularly dangerous for those over 65 with existing heart conditions. When manufacturers remove fat from foods, they typically replace it with something else to maintain flavor and texture, usually sodium, sugar, or both. These substitutions create a dangerous scenario for seniors with heart concerns. The average heart-healthy frozen meal contains up to 800 milligrams of sodium per serving, more than half the recommended daily limit for seniors with hypertension or heart failure in just one meal. Similarly, many low-fat yogurts contain up to 20 grams of added sugar per serving, triggering insulin spikes that increase inflammation and oxidative stress in the cardiovascular system. For seniors with heart issues, these hidden ingredients can have serious consequences. Excess sodium dramatically increases blood pressure and fluid retention, placing additional strain on an already compromised heart. This is particularly dangerous for the 68% of seniors who already manage hypertension. Studies show that for every 1,000 milligrams increase in daily sodium intake, the risk of heart failure exacerbation rises by 13% in adults over 70. Let me explain exactly how this damages your heart. Sodium causes your body to retain water to dilute the excess salt. This additional fluid increases your blood volume, forcing your heart to work harder to pump blood throughout your body. For a heart that's already compromised by age or disease, this extra workload can be devastating. The increased pressure damages the delicate inner lining of your arteries, the endothelium, which is your first defense against plaque formation. This damage creates tiny tears where cholesterol can accumulate, accelerating atherosclerosis and increasing stroke and heart attack risk. The excess pressure can also weaken heart valves over time, potentially leading to mitral regurgitation or other valve disorders that severely compromise cardiac efficiency. The sugar content in these healthy alternatives isn't any better. Researchers at the Cleveland Clinic found that seniors with heart disease who regularly consumed high sugar processed foods experienced 41% more cardiac events than those who limited these foods, regardless of their medication regimen. The connection is clear. These supposedly beneficial foods are creating a perfect storm of sodium, sugar, and refined carbohydrates that accelerate arterial damage and cardiac strain. What's most concerning is the cumulative effect of these ingredients over time. Seniors with heart conditions are especially vulnerable to the inflammatory cascade triggered by these processed foods, which can gradually worsen arterial stiffness, reduce blood vessel flexibility, and increase dangerous plaque accumulation. The same heart-healthy labeled foods intended to protect your cardiovascular system might actually be accelerating its decline, creating a silent deterioration that's easy to miss until a serious event occurs. 2. Inflammatory vegetable and seed oils, oxidative damage promoters. They're golden, seemingly pure, and have been marketed as heart-healthy alternatives to butter and animal fats for generations. Vegetable oils like soybean, corn, canola, safflower, cottonseed, sunflower, and grapeseed oils appear in nearly every kitchen and processed food product, often specifically recommended for seniors with heart concerns. Unfortunately, these oils may be creating more cardiovascular problems than they solve, especially for those over 65 with existing heart conditions. The problem lies not in the oils themselves, but in their molecular instability and processing methods. These highly processed oils contain excessive amounts of omega-6 fatty acids, which when consumed in disproportionate ratios to omega-3s, create a pro-inflammatory environment in the body. For seniors with heart issues, this additional inflammation can directly impact arterial health, heart rhythm stability, and blood pressure regulation. Let me explain the exact damage mechanisms. These polyunsaturated oils are extremely vulnerable to oxidation, especially when heated. When oxidized, they create reactive oxygen species and lipid peroxides that directly attack arterial walls. These compounds infiltrate the endothelium, the delicate inner lining of your blood vessels, and damage the glycocalyx, a protective coating that prevents cholesterol adherence. When this barrier is compromised, LDL cholesterol can more easily penetrate the arterial wall, accelerating plaque formation. Even more concerning, these oxidized compounds trigger specific inflammatory responses in the arterial wall itself. They activate nuclear factor kappa B, NF-kappa B, a master regulator of inflammation that increases production of dangerous cytokines like interleukin-6 and tumor necrosis factor alpha. For seniors with heart conditions, these inflammatory markers directly impact plaque stability, potentially converting stable plaques into unstable ones that can rupture and cause heart attacks or strokes. The typical American diet already contains up to 20 times more omega-6 than omega-3 fatty acids, largely due to these industrial oils. This imbalance has been linked to chronic inflammation, which accelerates atherosclerosis and contributes to heart failure progression. For seniors already managing cardiac conditions, this added inflammatory burden can be particularly damaging, causing increased arterial stiffness and reduced vascular flexibility, two factors that significantly raise the risk of stroke and heart attack. These oils also impact crucial pathways involved in heart rhythm regulation. Research shows they can alter cell membrane composition in cardiac tissue, potentially affecting ion channels responsible for maintaining normal heart rhythm. This is particularly dangerous for seniors already at higher risk for arrhythmias. Studies have linked higher consumption of these unstable oils to increased QT interval prolongation, a marker for dangerous heart rhythm abnormalities that can lead to sudden cardiac events. Even more concerning is how these oils interact with the aging cardiovascular system. When heated during cooking, these polyunsaturated oils oxidize rapidly, creating compounds that directly damage arterial walls and promote plaque formation. Studies from the Journal of Lipid Research indicate that oxidized oils can increase LDL cholesterol oxidation by up to 40%, a critical factor in atherosclerosis progression that's particularly problematic for seniors with existing plaque buildup. These oils also contain concerning levels of trans fats, despite labels claiming zero trans fats. Due to labeling loopholes, processed foods can contain up to 0.5 grams of trans fat per serving and still claim to be trans fat free. For seniors taking multiple servings of these foods daily, trans fat consumption can quickly reach levels that significantly increase cardiovascular risk. Research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that even small amounts of industrial trans fats can increase heart disease risk by 23% in adults over 60. 3. Refined carbohydrates and heart-healthy whole grains, blood sugar destabilizers. They're familiar, comforting, and have been dietary staples for most seniors' entire lives. White bread, bagels, pasta, white rice, refined flour tortillas, breakfast cereals, crackers, baked goods, and other grain-based foods, even those labeled whole grain or heart healthy, form the foundation of many seniors' diets, often at the specific recommendation of outdated nutritional guidelines. However, for those over 65 with heart conditions, these seemingly innocent foods may be creating a perfect storm of glycemic instability that directly impacts cardiovascular health. The problem begins with how these carbohydrates affect blood sugar, especially in older adults. After age 65, insulin sensitivity naturally decreases, making it harder for the body to process carbohydrates efficiently. When seniors with heart issues consume even whole grain products, they often experience significant blood sugar spikes followed by inflammatory crashes, a pattern that directly stresses the cardiovascular system and can trigger dangerous cardiac events. Here's exactly how this damages your heart. When you consume these carbohydrates, they rapidly convert to glucose, causing sharp blood sugar elevations. Your pancreas responds by releasing a surge of insulin to manage this glucose load. This insulin spike triggers several damaging processes specifically harmful to aging cardiovascular systems. First, it activates specific enzymes, protein kinase C and MAP kinases, that increase inflammation in arterial walls. Second, it enhances sympathetic nervous system activity, temporarily raising heart rate and blood pressure, creating dangerous stress for seniors with existing heart conditions. Recent research published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology reveals that seniors who consume high glycemic foods, including many whole grain products, experience up to a 68% increase in arterial inflammation compared to those following lower carbohydrate approaches. This inflammation directly impacts heart rhythm stability, vascular flexibility, and blood pressure regulation, three critical factors for seniors managing cardiac conditions. What's particularly troubling is how these foods impact metabolic health, which is intimately connected to heart function. Studies from the Cleveland Clinic Heart Center demonstrate that carbohydrate-induced insulin spikes trigger a cascade of reactions that increase triglycerides, reduce beneficial HDL cholesterol, and promote the formation of dangerous, small-dense LDL particles, the most damaging form of cholesterol for arterial health. For seniors already taking statins or other heart medications, these metabolic disruptions can undermine medication effectiveness and accelerate disease progression. Research indicates that seniors who consume high carbohydrate diets experience up to 42% higher AG formation than those following lower carbohydrate approaches, regardless of whether those carbohydrates come from whole or refined sources. 4. Processed meats and hidden high sodium proteins, blood pressure saboteurs. They're convenient, protein rich, and deeply familiar. Deli turkey, deli ham, bacon, salami, pepperoni, sausages, hot dogs, smoked meats, canned meats, and even many lean. Packaged protein options appear to be sensible choices for seniors seeking to maintain muscle mass and enjoy satisfying meals. However, for those over 65 with heart conditions, these processed proteins may represent one of the most serious dietary threats to cardiovascular stability, medication effectiveness, and overall cardiac health. The primary concern with these foods is their extraordinary sodium content, often hidden behind claims of natural or lean on the packaging. A single serving of typical deli turkey or ham contains approximately 700 to 900 milligrams of sodium, nearly two-thirds of the recommended daily limit for seniors with heart failure or hypertension. This sodium load creates immediate and potentially dangerous effects on blood pressure, fluid balance, and cardiac workload. Let me explain the exact mechanisms of damage. When you consume these high sodium proteins, the sodium concentration in your bloodstream immediately increases. Your body works to dilute this excess sodium by retaining more water, leading to increased blood volume. This directly increases pressure within your entire vascular system, like turning up the water pressure in a garden hose. For seniors with already compromised hearts, this added pressure forces the heart to work significantly harder, increasing oxygen demand precisely when many seniors already have compromised coronary circulation. This pressure increase is particularly dangerous for specific areas of the cardiovascular system. The delicate capillaries in the kidneys, eyes, and brain face increased risk of damage from these pressure spikes. In the heart itself, the elevated pressure can accelerate left ventricular hypertrophy, a thickening of the heart's main pumping chamber that significantly increases risk of heart failure and arrhythmias. Studies show that seniors who regularly consume high-sodium processed proteins experience up to 37% faster progression of left ventricular hypertrophy compared to those limiting sodium intake. For seniors taking common heart medications like diuretics, ACE inhibitors, or beta blockers, this sodium bombardment directly counteracts medication effectiveness, creating a situation where prescribed treatments cannot function as intended. Research from the American Heart Association found that seniors who regularly consume processed meats experienced 43% more hypertensive crises and required more frequent medication adjustments than those who avoided these foods, regardless of their baseline treatment protocol. Beyond sodium, these processed proteins contain concerning levels of nitrates, phosphates, and other preservatives that directly impact vascular health. Nitrates, in particular, can convert to nitrosamines in the body, compounds that have been shown to damage arterial walls and promote atherosclerosis progression. Studies indicate that seniors who consume processed meats more than twice weekly show accelerated arterial stiffening compared to those who limit these foods, a critical concern for those already managing cardiovascular conditions. The nitrates in processed meats create additional damage through their interaction with certain bacteria in the digestive tract. These bacteria convert nitrates to nitric oxide through a pathway that simultaneously generates reactive nitrogen species, highly damaging compounds that directly attack arterial walls and the heart muscle itself. Furthermore, research has linked nitrite compounds from processed meats to increased platelet aggregation, potentially enhancing blood clot formation risk. A critical concern for seniors with cardiovascular disease or those taking anticoagulant medications. The inflammatory impact is equally troubling. These processed proteins trigger inflammatory cytokine production that can directly affect heart rhythm stability and plaque vulnerability. Research published in the Journal of American Geriatric Society demonstrates that seniors with heart failure who regularly consume processed meats experience more arrhythmias and have longer hospital stays than those following more natural protein approaches. Of particular concern is how processed meat consumption impacts advanced glycation end product, AGE, formation. The processing methods used for these meats, especially high heat cooking, smoking, and curing, dramatically increase AGE content. When consumed, these compounds accelerate cross-linking of proteins in arterial walls, reducing vessel elasticity and impairing circulatory efficiency. For seniors with already compromised hearts, this additional stiffening can dramatically increase cardiac workload and exacerbate heart failure symptoms. What's particularly deceptive about these foods is their protein content, which seems beneficial on the surface. Seniors do need adequate protein for muscle maintenance and overall health, but these processed options deliver that protein at an extraordinary cardiovascular cost. Each serving increases inflammation, sodium burden, and oxidative stress, three factors that directly accelerate heart disease progression in seniors already managing cardiac conditions. Conclusion: optimization, not restriction, is what heart-healthy eating for seniors is truly about. As our cardiovascular systems face the challenges of aging and existing conditions, our dietary choices must evolve from outdated recommendations to evidence-based approaches that actively support healing and function. What once seemed heart-healthy may now create subtle damage. What once was recommended may now introduce hidden risks. The truth is that seniors with heart conditions can still enjoy delicious, satisfying foods by understanding which options truly support their changing cardiovascular needs. It's not about deprivation or perfection. Rather, it's about being informed and intentional about protecting your cardiovascular system while still enjoying meals that bring satisfaction and pleasure. Each food choice becomes an opportunity to respect your heart's current needs, your medical realities, and your future well-being. And perhaps most importantly, to remain fully capable of engaging with the people and activities that bring meaning to your life. There will always be conflicting information, misleading labels, and outdated recommendations in the nutrition world. But aging well with heart health intact is a statement against confusion. It's choosing evidence over tradition, quality over convenience, and targeted nourishment over generalized approaches. The cost of following outdated heart-healthy guidelines is frequently hidden at first. A small increase in inflammation, a gradual rise in blood pressure, or subtle changes in medication effectiveness. But such costs compound over time. You deserve to nourish these years with clarity, intention, and knowledge. The purpose of this video is to empower you to support your heart health in the fullest and most evidence-based way possible. I would love to hear from you now. Think for a moment, then share one heart-healthy food you've been eating that you might reconsider based on this information. Let's help one another embrace better heart health together. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with one. If not, feel free to use 0 in your comment. Your feedback is invaluable to us. For more videos like these, remember to subscribe to our channel, like and share our videos. Thank you for watching, and I wish you vibrant heart health for years to come.